What's good, y'all? Delwell here. Back at it again. I'm recording this on. I don't know. Actually, I don't know when you're gonna see this. Whenever I post it, but yeah, back at it again. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at ValeWorld. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Wash down these, and ever since I never learned. Okay, story of my first gaming PC. So 6 years ago, I was building my first PC with a rare case or box or whatever you want to call it, and I needed a Wi-Fi chip, and I didn't know how to put it in, so I asked the store clerk how I put it in, and he grabbed the exact case as mine, and he said it might be different than this, so it might be somewhere else, and I told him no, that's the same one, and then he explained it to me very nicely, and I went back and set it up, and it worked perfectly. Yeah. I was a strange child. I was about 5, 6-ish when this happened. For context, this will be important. I used to rinse out my hairspray bottles and fill them up with water and play with them. Okay. I was at my grandma's sitting in flower with a hairspray bottle when my cousin came over and her boyfriend. They chit chatted for a while, telling stories, catching up, all that jazz. My grandmother had something to show my cousin in her bedroom, so the two of them left, leaving me alone with S. He just kind of looked around the room, clearly uncomfortable being left alone with me, so we just sat in silence for about a minute till I looked him dead in the eyes, unscrewed the cap of the hairspray bottle, and started to chug it down. A wave of shock mixed pure horror washed over his face. I don't think you should be drinking that. Innocent little me. Why? And I, at that moment, my grandmother and cousin came back. Didn't say anything about what just had happened. My guess is that it was because he didn't want to get in trouble for not stopping me, or he was still in shock. And then they left. 6 years later, they broke up, and I waited a couple more years before I told her once she had gotten over him. Why we no longer have jaywalking on our door. Or, I mean, my bad, JW on our door. I was telling this story to a friend, and they said I should share. So, when I was a kid, we lived in an area with a lot of families who were Jehovah's Witnesses. My family was not. So, we would get a lot of people knocking on our door. Every now and then again, we were never rude or anything, usually saying things like, oh, I'm sorry, that's not a good time. But obviously, that meant eventually someone else would come to knock on our door again. One day during the week, my dad, sister, and I were at home. My sister and I were sitting in the dining room walking up the driveway. We called for our dad working from home at the time. Please open the door, Dad. This dad walks out of his office, sighs, and says, right, I need this to stop. At the time, we paid no attention to it. But at this point, he walked up to the bookshelf in the living room before opening the door, and the two men that stands in the doorway, we can hear their conversation. It's all perfectly polite, no harsh words, no get off my F porch, nothing. Perfectly pleasant. Until after a few minutes, the two guys just stop talking and walking away. Dad tells them to have a nice day and closes the door. He laughs and says, I don't think they'll be back. Obviously, we were confused. What happened? What did you say to them? I didn't say anything, but I don't think they like my book. When Dad had walked up to the bookshelf, he had a book to hold. Grabbed a book to hold while talking to the men. Book's title: The Brief History of Atheism. We never got witnesses knocking on our door after that. Wow.
Yes. Then I will be going to my room so I can work on a new dish. A new dish by Miss Erin? Oh, what is it, Miss Taco? Your face says that you want something.
Earning extra cash or not. I tried to earn $100 for nothing and ended up costing me $500. A while ago, I was very poor UNI student and I would volunteer for any study that would earn me cash or food or both. Look at pictures of buildings for an hour and rate how I feel about them for the architecture facility for $10. No problem. Have my blood taken every 2 weeks for a cholesterol study for a fortnightly free breakfast. Yep. So imagine my delight when I saw a Tenia study that paid about $100 after 6 months. I didn't have Tenia, but I worked in a bar and had noticed it came about every slight bit every once in a while. So I just needed to make sure on the day I was assessed for sustainability for the trial to make sure I had some. The day comes and
When I come back, you want to bring that type of water upstairs?
Look, I will ask you again. Do you really intend on trying to take my exam?
the day comes in the weeks before I'd made sure I had wet feet every day in the bar. The doc looks at the tiny amount on my right little toe and takes a sample. She says it doesn't look like tinea, but she let me know and also that she were looking for worse cases. I get a phone call a week later to tell me that it wasn't tinea and I couldn't participate in the trial. She also informed me there was where's it at? Hold on, y'all. I just lost my place. I just lost my place. Oh, there's another trial starting in 6 months, and that if I had tinea, then I should apply. I started doing everything I could to get tinea. Went to the UNI gym and swimming pool and walked barefoot in the showers. Didn't dry my feet after showering. Wore damp socks through during my bar shifts. By the time 6 months came around, I had the worst case of tinea known to mankind. I could barely be in the same room as me when I took my shoes off. The smell was that rank. On the day of my assessment, I strolled comfortably back into the doctor's office. It was the same doc that she recognized me, asking me if I had tinea. I took off my shoes proudly and pulled off my socks. The look of horror on her face made me prouder. It looked like I had trench foot, and there wasn't a single square centimeter of the sole of my foot that wasn't infested. She took a sample, and a photo, and then told me this was the worst she had ever seen. She then informed me that they were seeking people who had just a little bit between the toes. I'm pretty sure my gasp was audible as she wrote me a list of medications to buy to start treating me. Over the next 18 months, I spent hundreds of dollars trying to get rid of it on Candies crystals, creams, sprays, etc. I had to throw out 3 pairs of shoes because they stank so much and probably had their own colony of fungus growing in them. All up, I think it cost me excess of $500.
It just looks like normal for a cafe. This is the work of an untrained amateur. It doesn't even make me hungry. My palate is such that I'm called the god tongue, and only experienced, extravagant,
All right,
dishes
this is called "Just Tell Me About Your 8th Grade Teacher's Inappropriate Poster." Okay, so my ELA teacher, whom I will not tell her name, put a poster up of a very adult show, and let me just tell you some of what the poster said. Number one, if you see a blonde pain in the butt, that's me. Number two, I'm sophisticated with a hint of slutty. Number three, I want to become president, so no, I have never smoked marijuana. Number four, um, wow, the H word before bros. Number five, if I had strippers, if I had a stripper's name, it would be Equality. Not bad. Funniest thing about this was that she is our new teacher, and the old teacher was talking about how much experience she had in that teaching field. Needless to say, it was taken down. But come on, who reads a poster like that and thinks to themselves, this will be perfect for my 6th, 7th, and 8th graders? Anyways, that's how the teacher became my favorite.
completely different than it started. I doubt it. I will grant you this. I will go ahead and take a bite.
Sleep Slayer. When I was between ages 4 to 7, I sleepwalked a lot. So my brother, my dad, and I were playing the New Year's, no, not New Year's, New Gears of War, a game about a war between humans and aliens. We stopped about 1:40 and went to sleep. I share a room with my brother, and my parents' room was on the other side of the wall. So apparently, at 4 exactly, I bolted up right in my bed and started groaning loudly and looking around. I then went into a full sleep tactical run and kicked my door open. My dad heard my door burst open, so he came out of his room to see what just happened. To his surprise, he saw me in my Batman pajamas, semi squatted down, holding the atmosphere like it was a AK-47, looking around for the most disgusted face he had ever seen, and yelling, "Where's the F word ammo?" That wasn't the last time sleepwalking, and I'm just 90% sure that house was haunted. But that's a story for another time. Wow.
So the demon boy is asleep, so to speak. Which means the flavor of your chicken. The richness and saltiness of the smooth broth draws out the gentle sweetness of the fluffy egg. Each bite, fluffiness and velvetiness caress the inside of my mouth. The multi-neighborhood dramatically elevates the sumptuousness of the egg. This is like any dish I've ever tasted. It's a wave of flavors completely unknown to me.
Well, what you think, huh? Are you glad you didn't leave without trying it?
Be quiet! I'm not finished judging.
With originality and creativity, you can elevate even the most everyday dishes. That is the essence of Yuki Fish.
I live in the heavenly